Are
Mhm.
okay. Action.
Welcome to the New Atlantean Society in our next episode. I'm your host, Anna Rocklina.
And I'm Jedi Hill, short for Jedi, if you didn't all catch that earlier. Um, so today's fun topic is what is alchemy? So we're actually going to be going through chapter one. Oh, I disappear. There
Oh,
we
here you
go.
go, closer to you, you can see.
There you go. Alchemy, the Master's Path. So the very first line in chapter one, after what is alchemy, is wisdom is given to no man until he asks for it, by Manly P. Hall, one of my
That's true.
favorite authors. He was a 33 degree Mason,
Mhm.
and he wrote some phenomenal books about different religions and cultures around the world. So, great resource for anybody that wants to dive deeper into different topics. So, to get us started, love, you had some notes over here for us.
Yes, absolutely. So, what is alchemy? And this is our today's topic, as Jedi said. So, we're going to give a couple of definitions of alchemy. So, the first one is a transformation, right?
Yeah, at its simplest form,
Mm-hmm.
alchemy is transforming one thing to another. Whether
Mm-hmm.
that's, the ancient masters transforming lead to gold, the precursors to chemistry and just creating one substance into another.
Mm-hmm.
Our more modern times, most of us use it as a spiritual alchemy, transform fear to love, anxiety to calm, and fun things like that.
Yes, absolutely. So, we're going to give some examples, right? So, I can tell you a story about,
Let's go right ahead.
okay, there was once upon a time, there was a girl who worked for the government, and she seemed everything going for her life, and beautiful apartment, government cushion job, but for some reason, she was still depressed and miserable, even with everything going great. And that's when she realized that she needs to utilize the alchemy, which is again transformation. So that story is about a girl who was stuck in fear, and then she moved to love. And we're gonna tell you that story, how she did that.
Little by little, step by step. Yeah, there's
Yes.
lots of different modules. You're going to get pieces.
Yes.
You get to know each of us better.
Yes, in different modules, not today. All
So,
right.
one more quote from Manly before we start diving in.
Mhm.
Um, there's no place for little minds in a great work.
Mhm.
Manly Hall. So, we're doing a great work to build the city of New Atlantis
Mhm.
and establish the culture of people who understand universal law. We're going to focus on conscious capitalism because there's no taxes and things like that. People who love freedom, entrepreneurs, the producers and the givers, not just the consumers and the takers.
Yes.
Okay, so
So, mhm.
a little history on alchemy before we go into the depths
Oh,
and
yes, history. That's, yes, exactly. So, as Jedi stated in his book, it all started in Egypt and Greece, but we have.
well, you'll see alchemy
Mhm.
throughout history.
Mhm.
It predates science and religion. It was the original understanding of the universe, and science and religion will eventually come back together in alchemy at some point in the future.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So, a lot of people say it started with Hermes Trismegistus or Thoth from the Egyptian.
Mhm.
Um, but then you have, and I can't prove this one through the historical records like we can everything. Like you can show it through the Egyptian, the Greek, the Chinese, the Persian, and European cultures, all the way through modern society.
Mhm.
Many of your favorite people, if you're into science, were fellow alchemists. For psychology, Carl Jung was a fellow alchemist, the founder of the whole field, using the rituals of the ancient mystery schools, putting that into psychology to help people improve who they are.
Mhm.
So, a whole
Yeah.
field of science created from alchemy.
Yeah.
Then you have Isaac Newton. was very big into the mathematics and gravity. And that all came from him being an alchemist. And it
Mm,
just goes, the further
yeah.
back in history you get, it will be the alchemists who have been leading history step
Hmm.
by step.
That's beautiful. Mm.
Yeah. So now personally, I know down to the deepest parts of my soul as I've studied, I just don't have the definitive proof for it yet, that alchemy actually came all the way back from Atlantis. And it was like Thoth the Atlantean and the society and knowledge, goes back 100,000 years or more.
Mm.
In ancient megalithic structures, we've looked anywhere from 125 to 250,000 years are some of the oldest ones, underwater we've been able to figure out.
Wow. That's fascinating.
But of
Yeah.
course, mainstream archaeology doesn't want to admit all that. So there's that. So,
Yeah. Okay, that was good, Jedi. So yes, it's a fully developed science of transformation. That's what alchemy is. And also we look at the body, human body, as you mentioned before, as laboratory, as a
yes.
lab.
So, like, you look at
Hmm.
the biblical, they're talking about the body as your temple.
Hmm.
In alchemy, you look at more as the laboratory. Everybody's body is a little bit different. So you
Hmm.
have to adjust to transform to get you into optimal health. That's what the whole biohacking
Yeah.
industry is about, which I'm a huge fan of.
Hmm.
Um, since I went on a vision quest when I was 16 and I saw the idea for New Atlantis, I fast at least a week on water every year,
Yes.
and then at least one more 3-day fast. I'm waiting for spring to come
Spring.
around
Yes,
to
I'm gonna
do
do that
another
too.
one.
Together. Together.
Um, Forget all the religious stuff, like
Yeah.
whether it's Ramadan, the Christian fast for the not
Lentil.
Lent,
Oh, yeah.
Lent.
Yeah. Oh, well, Lent. Yes. Not
Yeah,
as a lentil.
lentil. That's a
Lent,
little bit.
legume. Lent. I associate Lent with lentils because that's what you can
Yeah,
eat. You can't eat meat.
and there's the Essenes and all these different ones that do it for different religious purposes. But let's look at the biology.
Hmm.
You start going down to water, your body's using up the glucose and things in the bloodstream. Then you start going into ketosis, where you start burning your fat cells,
Yeah. It's alchemy.
and you're
Full
going
alchemy.
into autophagy, where the cells are eating up the
Eating.
dead cells to use them for nutrients.
Hmm.
So your body's like self-cleaning mechanism starts to kick in, which is why people do the intermittent fasting for 16, 18 hours, things like that.
Yeah, we do that every day, I feel like. Anyhow, yes.
Um,
Hmm.
then after 3 days of not eating and just having water, your body starts producing new stem cells. So you actually start
Yeah,
renewing your organs and things like that.
that's awesome.
After a week on just water, you have sloughed off your intestinal lining and you have a whole new immune system.
Yeah, I
So,
can't wait.
since your intestinal
Spring.
system, yeah, and it's amazing how much regeneration you can actually do. And fasting has brought me back from the brink of death
Hmm.
multiple times.
Yeah, I
Scared the
witnessed.
hell out of her.
Yeah,
She thought I was dead.
exactly. I fasted for so many days without food, and well, you were still drinking water, but
Yeah,
without food for many, many days.
yeah, that was that last time was just
Oh,
12 days, I think it was.
yes.
Um,
Thank you, oh God. Anyhow, so yes, fasting is the way to go. And that's again, this is alchemy.
yes,
All right.
it's
Yeah.
knowing and
Hmm.
learning the tools to transform one thing to another. So that was like the disease to wellness
Hmm.
and bringing yourself back.
Yeah.
And in order to get alchemy and do it, like, you can look at it through the chemistry, physics, and then you get into the metaphysics, which is, that next step up that's leading the way for physics, coming from ancient knowledge that we already know.
Hmm.
Like a fun little story, the Thule Society in World War II. This was part of Hitler's occult society. They actually raided Tibet and monasteries
Yeah.
for
I've heard that many
scrolls
times.
and documents.
Hmm.
And that is how they designed their V2 rockets and everything else, by reverse engineering ancient documents that were thousands of years old. We have no clue. We
That's a
couldn't.
different story. There's like a different topic for another day. Yeah, but yeah, so
Well, that leads into where we're going now. That I'm going to do the brief overview of the 7 Hermetic Principles.
mhm,
We're going to go deeper into these to the course, but once you learn the actual laws of the universe
mhm.
and be able to adjust things and change your individual energy and frequency, you start to be able to transform reality itself.
It's true. That's true. And it sounds, before to me, it sounded like, okay, this is just woo-woo stuff. And I don't believe in this.
Mhm.
But actually, it's real because when you utilize all those alchemical tools that Jedi will briefly talk about, you actually changing your life, the essence, your fabric, your reality. And it sounds crazy to some people, but some people who are already knowledgeable about it, like, yeah, you're right. And others like on much more advanced level. Yeah, you just dabble in here.
Yeah, we're starting
No,
out the dabbling,
yes, we're
and
not talking about masters and Far Eastern, the Jesus level, right, sweetie?
well, and everything I'm going to do, I can, of the 7 Hermetic Principles, I'll be able to relate 6 of the 7 back to physics and science right away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only one that you need to look into and start to understand.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Let's
and
begin.
and that is the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental, the Kabbalah.
We'll talk about it later in the entire course. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go more deep, and I'm going to give some, examples. So what this is talking about is everything is a thought form. It's all mental energy. Consciousness is the very fabric of reality itself. And when you were looking at scientific experiments like the double slit experiment, showing that depending on the observer, you either have a particle or a wave, showing
Okay.
that the universe itself is conscious, and science is starting to catch up in the highest levels of quantum theory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. And as we get into that in the next decade, it's going to improve AI, it's going to improve everything we do
Wow.
for energy generation.
Mm-hmm.
Second principle is the principle of correspondence. As a Kabbalah, as above, so below, as below, so above. And this is more talking mathematical ratios.
Mm-hmm.
The distance between the cells in your body are, equivalent to the distance between the stars in the sky. And there's different variances that you'll get into,
Mm-hmm.
giving you the equivalents. Some of the old times, people would be like, oh, you have lung issues, have some grapes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you would have this, so they'd you need kidney beans or whatever, and they'd be corresponding the shapes of these things in nature.
Mm.
And it wasn't always an exact, but it was really cool. Like, okay, we know grapes are good for the lungs. You have the resveratrol in the
For the
purple,
heart.
which is antioxidant, regenerative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool seeing all the different things coming from the past to the future. So number 3, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The Kabbalah. This is straight.
Jedi, it seems like you're like going straight through all of the modules so we can discuss in this entire course.
Yeah, we're discussing what the topics of the modules so they can get a deeper understanding later.
Oh, okay. So this is just a brief overview, right?
Yeah, this is a brief overview.
Okay.
Uh,
Guys, that's gonna be awesome.
yeah, we're gonna go
I'm
deeper
gonna
into
be diving deep myself. Looks like it.
uh,
Thank you, Jedi.
okay, so vibration, because I'm a physics math nerd geek, so she's read my book, so she knows the things that are in it, but now I'm bringing some of the science and things into it more for you here.
Yes, yes.
To
You
go
do.
deeper than what we just did with the
Yeah.
written word.
Yeah.
And, vibration every atom, you think the table you're sitting on is hard, or, we can do that. It's
Body's hard.
mainly
Yeah.
an empty space.
Yeah.
It's just vibrating waves and energy.
Yeah.
The E
It's
equals
a lower
MC squared.
frequency, right? Vibrates at a low frequency if it's like a
Slower,
like
yes.
slower. Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yes,
slower.
slower. Yeah.
Denser,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next you have your principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has its poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled.
I
Now,
love this one. So I think we're gonna go deeper and we talk about the God and devil regarding that matter.
when we get to that
now,
one.
not now.
Yeah. So simple, your light, dark, your summer,
Yes.
winter, your hate, love, your fear, courage, all those type things.
Mm-hmm.
And, polarity, you have heat and cold.
Yes.
This is all your physics. You have the electron and the proton, the positive and negative, the push and the pull of the electromagnetism.
Mm-hmm. You're doing great.
So your fun paradox is like a measure of heat or cold, because we have absolute zero, is just cold is just an absence of heat.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we'll get fun and we'll go deeper on all those at later dates. So the principle of rhythm is the fifth one. Everything flows out and in, and everything has its tides. All things rise and fall, the pendulum. Swings manifest in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates, the Kabbalah. Carl Jung talks about, no trees, branches can reach to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Your equidistance, like you look at plants. Yeah, the deeper the plant digs into the ground, the taller the plant is. So think about that when you're walking around looking at all those 100-foot tall trees and things like that. They go 100 foot down in the ground too.
It's fascinating. They touch the core of the Mother Earth.
Yeah, deeper and deeper.
Deeper
so
and deeper.
We'll go on how you can actually use that in your life, at later time.
That's a great exercise. Yeah, I love that one. We'll talk later
But
about it.
that's everything moves in waves and energy, and that's why you have your rhythm. You have the top of the wave, the bottom of the wave, and back and forth. That's why it goes from spring, fall, winter, summer, and back in a circle. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law, the Kabbalah.
Karma.
Yeah, so this is the concept of karma, and it's simple effect. Like I remember a story, the way I did this one, like imagine you're a hunter, and it's you're on a snowy mountaintop, and you see this elk come out. You have a bow on your back and a pistol on your hip. You're really hungry. You haven't eaten in days. But you got to think, you're up on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
If I pull the bow, I might get the deer, I might miss. I pull the pistol. I know I'm a really good shot. I know I'm going to get the deer.
Okay.
And I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But if I pull out the pistol, that's going to make a really loud noise.
Yeah.
That might cause an avalanche and take out the village below.
Oof.
That's the cause and effect. We need to learn how to think from the thought, not to it, so you can actually look at the effects of your actions in everything you do in life.
Yeah.
And you can actually start to see the ripple effect that you create from every single thing you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, and number 7, the principle of gender. Gender isn't everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes, the Kabbalah. And this goes on everything from the atom, the masculine, feminine, the positive proton, the negative electron. And all we ever touch is the electrons. We think we're touching each other, but it's really just empty space and electrons repelling each other. So we get close, but we don't actually get to touch. Isn't that neat? Because you're actually just feeling the pressure waves from the electrons.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that one, especially in lovemaking. Anyway.
So, you have masculine, feminine in the reality.
Mhm.
That's why there's the polarity. And if you don't have the polarity, the man's not masculine enough, the woman's not going to be feminine, and you're not going to have that
Yes.
strong attraction.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Especially with, feminine guys. Oh God. A woman needs a strong masculine man, those sweet guys. Guys, I'm sorry. That's why you're still single. Yeah.
Now, fun little tip for you, knowing up in the videos for you guys that might be stuck in the friend zone all the time. She actually put in what's the name of the book?
Yes, I put it in our society.
In the resources section.
Resources,
And what's
yes.
the name of the book?
It's the top seven principles. Or it's a man's guides book. Top seven principles that keep love away and how to fix it.
There you go.
Yes.
So those are in the resources.
Mhm.
Free book that she wrote as a multi-published author that
Yeah.
has been a best-selling author. Good job.
Thank you, sweetie.
So how are you going to utilize alchemy in your day-to-day life? We talk about science and art of changing one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
You'll use it to focus on your health, use it to change your finances. We're going to put financial education down in the resources.
Yes. We have already a lot of videos, content, yeah.
Yeah, it's just we can only upload it so fast from some different sources.
Yes.
Speeches I've done on real estate investing and other fun topics to give you a true financial education that they don't teach you in school.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you that already have it, you might still find some gems that get it, but we want to train and give everybody the resources
Yes.
to move up the
Forward.
financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual ladders as we go.
Absolutely, yes.
So
I've done it. You done it. You can do that.
Yep.
We want you to do that.
So after this, mark is complete. Go on to the next video. And then once you complete this first couple of quick videos, you are now able to access the resources and
Yes.
get into the fun stuff.
Yes.
And we will continue
Yes,
adding
resources.
more stuff into the program day by day, week by week.
Yes. So after you complete the module 1, which is this one, the resources will become available. They will open up to you.
See you soon.
See you.